Bye, Mom.
Drive
Bye,
carefully.
Dad.
Have fun, you two.
Yes, we will have as much
This
fun
is
as
Pete
possible
Michels.
on our
This is Justin Roiland.
Dan Harmon.
Here we are for commentary for the final episode of Rick and Morty.
Finale.
Keeping you in charge.
Controversial episode.
Yeah.
Some people were disappointed.
Oh, really?
What?
Don't blow me
Look,
Yeah, you know.
This one was sort of towards the end of the season. Dan had taken off to Community after the script was done, but before the animatic was
Well,
locked.
after
No, wait
the
a
first
minute.
draft of the script was done.
Yeah. First draft.
This episode is badass. If the disappointment Ryan's referring to is probably a relative anticlimax that people might have experienced because they were so excited about the serialized Breaking Bad epic
Counselor Rick.
implications of the previous episode.
Yeah.
Well, I know they're not disappointed in the animation, I hope.
No, they're definitely not
Hell
disappointed
no.
in the
It
fucking
was supervised
P to the
very
M.
well.
This one was one of the most brutal to get looking good,
Yeah.
Pete, right?
Yes, it was. We were really up against a deadline on this one.
Like nothing we had experienced
As
all
a matter
season.
of
No.
fact, I mean, if there was failing, it certainly was on the writing side, and the fact that this episode is awesome, it's everything to do with a lot
There
of
is
hard work
there is
from
no
the
failure on this
animators.
episode.
Pete and his peeps
The crack team. Yeah, we
had
had
to rise up all the more because the episode is. I mean, the A story is people hanging out at a party.
yeah.
The B story is a Titanic spoof.
Yeah,
So if it makes you happy at all, it's definitely because the kids that went to art school rose up and Supermaned themselves into the broken bridge.
Yeah, Pete, rattle off everybody who worked their fucking
this,
asses off.
yeah, this was
here.
this was
Dave
directed.
Scarpetti.
Dave Scarpetti,
all the
David
post guys.
Marshall,
Yeah.
great
Nora.
Harmony animators, Nora Quinn. Carolyn did a great job on this. Mark
Estrada.
Estrada.
Listen, every one of those
Carolyn
people
Foley.
we just named touched every shot you're gonna watch in this episode.
And this one was unique in that we had to do exposure sheets for this one for the lip assignment, which we hadn't done for any other episode.
What?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
Because it went to Korea. The first pass went to Korea, and then we kind of divided up into did some retakes in Korea, some in Canada, and some here in house.
Yeah.
I think the three of us could just, have a nice time.
Now I don't want to spoil.
Directed by
any-
Steven Sandoval, the great Steven Sandoval.
Yep. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, I don't want to spoil any magic, but because I don't even remember when we wrote this season, this first 10 episodes, we purposely made them very modular, and we, knowing that we would want to set the air order as we went, discovering certain things. And I know that this episode wasn't originally intended as a finale.
No, Counselor Rick's was gonna be.
Yeah, and one of the things that sticks out is the relationship between Summer and Rick, which you can see develop. Was there ever a point when this episode would have aired before, for instance, the Gazorpasaur?
No. I don't think so. Because we definitely wrote this one way later than the Gazorpazorp one. So I don't ever see this one coming before that.
I do know that the key bit of trivia for this episode is that it started off with, I think, Justin drawing the image of the, I guess, testicle monsters is what they're referred to.
Yeah.
That
and
was
saying,
the start of it.
You just gotta have these things shoving things in their little vagina mouths and then passing them into each other. Everything that basically you see in the tag.
Well, also
Became what we had to build a story around.
Also,
back from there, huh?
more
exactly.
More
How do we
so
get
than
to
that. More so than that was the idea of the house being teleported, because Harmon and I had a pitch years ago that was sort of centered around the idea of a sci-fi device teleporting an entire apartment complex into a weird alien world, and I remember I've always loved that idea, and I never could shake it out of my head. And now we have a show that's completely conducive to that.
Where did the whole idea of the Titanic story come from? Because when I first read the script as a Titanic fan, I'm the resident Titanic nerd here. But when I first read the script, I was thrilled. Like, oh, cool, whole Titanic we get to draw, awesome.
Yeah, we were trying to come up with a B story, and so we literally drew or wrote 100 ideas onto a whiteboard.
Yeah, I
For
remember
Beth
that.
and Jerry B stories, including the classic Big City haircut.
Yeah, Big
which
City
we've
haircut.
seen Jerry drive into the big city to get his fancy haircut.
Yeah.
Didn't make the
I hope you
cut.
didn't kill that idea.
Well, I mean,
No, it's a
it lives
shame.
somewhere.
but we
By the
really
way,
gave it to Titanic
Bird
instead.
person back there, Buck Rogers.
Yeah, inspired
late,
by a character from Buck Rogers.
Yeah, it's
voiced
amazing.
by-
I mean, not from a legal perspective.
No, yeah, I mean, look, it's
Inspired by.
changed just enough.
Bird person.
Dan really used all of his 800 pounds to make sure he got that role.
That's true. History will look at Rick and Morty as a footnote in my career as an actor.
That voice was awesome.
Gearhead or
No,
Gear-
Bird person.
Bird
And
person.
Gearhead.
Yeah.
Scott Chernoff.
Yeah, Gearhead's played by Scott Chernoff, a writer and Conan, a
Who
friend of
couldn't
ours
be
from
better for
Channel
this
101
character?
days.
Like this voice, which is just him.
Now this I remember you brought in some of your He-Man toys. So.
Yeah, this is
On this one.
No,
this
he
is
didn't.
modeled
He didn't.
after
Totally original
They were
idea.
similar.
I don't know where we.
but
how
nothing
do you
like it.
He-Man
navigate
fans.
that?
You know what it is.
Have you met my buddy Scrope?
Some boarding-wise, we had storyboards on this. Erica Hayes, I think this was
Morty, this guy's
Her
first
and
shot
Roy.
she got at storyboarding
Yeah.
on the show, and Roy Kamako.
Squatch
And
Is
by the
a-
way, the continuity of where people are standing was
Yeah.
a fucking nightmare
Yes.
of epic proportions.
was.
I like your squatch.
What happened to Erica? Is she coming back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's coming. So is Roy.
Yep.
They're both coming
Yeah.
back.
What about Squanchy? Is he coming back?
I hope so.
We're working on it.
So I remember Erica coming in just because of what Justin would say. She was sort of coming in to relieve some gaps, right?
Yeah,
Like-
she was a what do they call the revisionist?
Revision
or a
artist.
floating,
Yeah.
a floating.
She was a floating
yeah.
revision artist. Yeah. Just to pick
And
up
then,
the slack.
and now she's going to be an actual. She's on a team now.
Turned out to be a
Yeah.
huge asset, not only to the main team, but also the horrible Starburns softball team.
That's right. It's so funny. I didn't go to a single fucking
Which
game.
co-writer of this episode, Tom Kaufman, was the Hank Aaron
Superstar.
of? I don't know.
Wow.
Was the
Oh, Slow
meaning
Mobius.
he was the first good athlete on that team.
Hey guys, Slow Mobius.
Yeah, slow
Wish I
Yeah.
could
motion.
fix his
Slow Mobius.
animation.
Yeah. That's a lot of. Yeah.
A lot of slow and a lot of Mobius there.
It's at this exact point that I experienced the height of my shame at doing a
Titanic.
Titanic spoof as a B story.
I love this though
yeah,
because
me too.
It's fine, and no one other than me that worked on this did anything other than the best job possible.
Yeah.
I just like look at it and go like, how did we end up? I don't know how we do it, and it's got to be my fault, right? Because I look at Community and I go,
course.
I always end up doing this shit.
well, look, we all laughed our asses off at the idea of a reverse Titanic
Yeah.
thing. And I think up until I got the color back, I was thrilled with it. And then I got the color back, and I'm like,
Oh,
why
my
isn't this
God.
funny anymore?
Why didn't you just air the
And then I
animatic?
watched the animatic, and I'm like, no, this is good in animatic. I just had to get it closer to animatic. That's this whole episode, the tale of this episode. Tom Kaufman.
No more movie, no more pop culture.
Nah,
no more,
come on. We shouldn't
Let's
say
leave
nothing.
that to Trey and Matt.
Never say
and-
never.
But we shouldn't say no to anything. I can't
I mean,
wait
this
to do
one
it.
was fine.
Why?
Like, Bird Person is obviously inspired by something that shall remain nameless to the legal department, but full-on like South Park style treatments of existing pop cultural storylines. No
Yeah.
more. We can agree on that, right?
No.
Using
Fuck
some
that.
sort of
Look,
libertarian, like.
if we got a good enough spin on it, why handcuff ourselves?
Because we'll always be competing with them, and then we lose.
Gotta
Like,
find our own.
we win
Ah,
when,
those
when
guys
this
are really
happens.
good. You're right. Those guys are really good. Okay, by the way, the staging here was fucked up, you guys. Watch the animatic on the DVD. You'll see what I'm talking about, bro. Shit is fucked up.
Aberdolf Linkler is something we came up with very early on in the writing of the season.
That's
right?
true. Yeah, because we had a whole different
We just
story.
we had a picture on the whiteboard of Aberdolf Linkler. And it actually just comes from the idea that both Hitler and Lincoln are both so hack comedically. So that was the conversation.
combine
It was like,
them.
when are we going to move past Lincoln and Hitler, which you go back and forth between pop culturally, and then the idea of, what if you fused them, then you could keep them both fresh.
Wait. This whole boy thing, I had no idea that was a racist thing. No,
Well, that's because you don't think about race at all.
when
Well, do you not remember this conversation?
I
was like,
remember you talking about
you
that,
wrote
yeah.
the scene and you were like, it's not working. And I'm like, well, why is boy a problem?
Yeah.
Like, well, that's a racist term.
Justin had to have race and racism explained to him.
I mean-
because he's a delicate beacon of light from a different solar system where
I like to know as little as possible about this stuff.
You just thought
that's
he's
what Martin
offended
Luther King
because
said.
Yeah. Just try to keep it.
you just thought he was offended because Linkler, he thought he was being talked down to by an adult. Like, hey, I'm a man.
You told
How
me
dare
pretty
you?
early on what it was, and I'm like, okay, I'll
It's
take
a
your word for it.
classic. I'll take your word for it.
And then I think you explained it eventually, and I'm like, oh, I guess that is kind of.
Either way, I'm not sure. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad I know now, so I know not to accidentally
to
do what
use it.
he did.
The backstory for Linkler, I think at one time we talked about he was like one of Rick's early sidekicks.
Yeah.
Like, we were
Right.
doing it in an episode where
He was sort of an homage to Serpentor in G.I. Joe. Like Rick had gathered DNA from
oh yeah,
two different
yeah.
leaders.
By the way, if you look in the garage there's a lot of props that we reused from previous episodes too. The shrinking device from Anatomy Park.
Yeah, we had. Was it Scarpetti or was it Marshall that filled that all out? One of them.
That was me.
Oh, you.
I'll
That
take
was you?
credit for
Okay.
that.
There's a stair goblin at the party there.
Yeah, that's all stuff of us like.
they
can
had
we
to
get
go
less
back and-
of these kids and more cool aliens?
Yeah, I think I remember reading somewhere like people were criticism
Chris
of this episode
Romano.
was Chris Romano, aka Romansky.
Yeah, what were they
from Mountain
saying,
State.
Ridley? Let's hear it.
That like, oh, Rick, why would Rick have all these friends? Like, what are you talking
Popular.
about? Like, why? Because
man.
it's not in his
Everybody
character
loves
to
him.
have all these
Fuck
friends.
that person.
Dude, I
loves
have like
Rick.
500 phone numbers on my phone.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I
like the
have
idea
no
of Rick.
friends.
200. I have 200 Facebook
Okay, wait. I
friends.
just want to say this is a scene that was completely rewritten after the first pass of the animatic and added in. I can't remember how the second act started originally, but
This is a little bit of a soft repipe. I think we could have hit this harder comedically.
yeah, I just wanted to see the three of our characters having a moment, like after this house has been transplanted to Crazy
Yeah.
Town.
You come back from commercial, you got a certain amount of entitlement to just rehash stuff quietly, but
But to
could've-
your point,
Listen, I had to write this scene, Dan, so I would have loved to get a fucking Harmon polish.
Oh, is that what happened? I went back
Yeah.
to community and you wrote this.
Yes.
that's what'll happen with a lot
I
of
did
this
my
episode.
best, all right? I did my best
You
here.
at one point said you read the draft. You're like, oh, this is ready for network, and I'm going, no, it's not.
Look, come on.
And I wrote some of it. It's not ready.
Well, I mean,
Good to
look,
feel needed.
look, the production has to, the train has to keep moving.
Hey, I
rolling.
like that. I like that Justin, fucking, these, as we're recording this commentary, we have no idea what NBC or Sony is going to do. And Justin's he's willing to take any void head on. He's not codependent. Like Justin,
I'm just planning for both. I'm
Justin
like, all
can
right,
do
what
this
are we gonna
cartoon
do?
by himself, and it will be slightly different, but still really good. And I don't know, that's just awesome. Like working with Justin is a huge
thanks, man.
relief from working with
I would have liked to see
people
This trip has been a titanic failure.
Say no a
don't
lot?
obsess over every detail.
The
Like I-
dialogue might take a bit of a hit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the dialogue could.
Yeah.
A great setup punchline flow.
There's some characters in the incidentals that actually are in the crew. Carlos Ortega is in the Titanic crowd.
Oh, a lot of our crew.
And,
I tried to get my
drawn in.
girlfriend in there.
Hey, by the
I
way,
think
Harmon,
she
look,
is, yeah.
no wrinkles.
No cellulite. I think
Well,
she is
I mean,
in there somewhere.
really?
Yeah.
I tried to get it as close as I could. They said it would be a lot harder to do the
And
contour.
after a while, you're polishing a turd, but I was starting to get phobic about the idea that I don't know, where the joke was that
Lucy
Jerry has to do a fugly. Yeah, what are we doing? What kind
Yeah.
of? We're doing a Titanic spoof, and it's fratty. Like,
Yeah.
damn, that girl ugly.
That creature's awesome, designed by James McDermott.
Yeah, James
Yeah.
McDermott. By the way, we don't say enough about McDermott on these
Art
commentaries.
direction-wise,
The
he's
guy,
awesome,
the guy
yeah.
fucking. So much of the show
The
is
art's
amazing, and also the backgrounds with
Andrew DeLange.
Andrew DeLange and our color fucking guy,
Jason
Bash. Holy shit,
Nancy
guys.
is also Stephanie Ramirez.
they lived here.
I don't know as of this commentary record how much this is going to play out in the writing of the second season, but so far this episode, we established a lot of characters in this party that will then I think, show up in the second season as
Hopefully.
bigger parts of the story.
Yeah.
This might be a
I
little
mean,
springboard
look,
for a lot
there's
of
so
little...
many great high school kids. Like we've got, Aislinn Paul here next to Morty right now on the screen from Degrassi, and we had Cassie Steele in this one. All these awesome high school kids that we started to
This scene,
establish.
we redid at the very last minute, maybe a week before broadcast. because
Rick's
we felt-
original line as he snorted the space coke
Relax.
was,
The
"That's the first cool thing he's ever done," which I right at the gate I felt was too crass. Too like Rick's charm is that he doesn't give a shit.
You described it like someone who does care, pretending like they don't,
Yeah.
as opposed to him legitimately just not giving a shit.
The
which
Rick
I felt
dance
was a good.
got some flack, maybe because people thought it was too. Like we weren't doing a bit, like we just thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, no,
that Rick
this
was
is us
doing
just
the Rick
making
dance.
fun of like the Urkel dance, or I mean, we're being ironic, guys. Come on,
Yeah.
give us some credit. I mean, maybe we didn't land it quite as good as I did. Cut the second verse out, which helped a lot.
Yeah.
There's a whole second verse. You're gonna go watch it on the DVD. That definitely would have hurt the.
I'm starting to come down, Morty.
But people criticize that there wasn't enough story in this episode, but that's kind of the joke. Is that like, it's a party, they're relaxing, and the story is
This
kind
is
of
house party too,
anticlimactic.
dog.
Like,
Yeah, Rick even said, "Can we just relax?"
yeah, like you think that there's a
Yeah,
there's
he's
a
talking to the
mislead.
viewer. Hey,
Yeah.
can we? We
hey,
did 9
relax.
episodes. Can we just?
Can we just chill?
We just did our Breaking Bad. Can we please just relax? And,
You just met Evil Morty. Can we relax?
yeah.
Have a party?
And the joke was that the act break was, oh my god, this really is turning into a sci-fi adventure. They're going to another world, but no, it's not a threat.
Yeah.
Rick could have gotten back the whole time.
Yeah, the whole adventure was a
Excuse to do
mislead
coke.
to get drugs.
Yeah.
Look at that drawing, Jerry's drawing. I want that on a T-shirt or a poster.
I have to mop it up.
It's actually kind of good.
Oh
in
wait,
its own
this is
way.
Ridley's great.
This is the 8th of 10 non-consensual sex.
And Justin, this
plot
is Tom.
devices.
I think it's you're about to compliment the.
Oh, was the I have to
I
mop
think
it
it's-
up a Tom joke?
Yeah, I'm
Kaufman?
pretty sure. Tom,
Oh, I
not
don't
if that's
know.
true. He's nodding.
I it was almost gone, and then I was like, no, it's funny. We gotta leave it. And I have to mop it up. The floor mop drops out to make it easier.
I didn't peg
I mean,
Lucy
how
for
much
a rapist.
how much
What does a rapist look like?
body
exactly,
fluid is
Beth?
on that
Is it a
But
car
it's-
floor?
it's-
for
it
God's
was pretty
sakes?
rusty.
Also, what are these people doing? Just spraying semen like all over the fucking car and shit.
They have to replace that floor every week.
Oh, by the way, did
got all this free
I
stuff.
replaced her whole
Yeah.
response with just
Satisfy your
what?
Titanic.
Yeah.
It made me laugh so hard.
And that whole debris
going to
thing
fit.
is, I think I was the only one that noticed it wasn't a
We're
door.
going to get out of here.
Oh yeah, thank God. It's debris.
It's debris.
It's not a door.
Now, Pete, while we have you here, as the episode's winding up, I'm curious from your side of things, what is the ideal episode of Rick and Morty in terms of like how little work would need to be done? Because I know we're constantly, finding new ways to make animation inefficient in terms of what we write down. But like, what if we were to write like the easiest
The- well, the
episode of Rick and
easiest-
Morty?
The one that was the easiest one to produce, I think, throughout the season was Needful Things.
Oh, yeah.
One just kind of flowed really smoothly.
Very simply
Well, people
boarded.
really love
yeah,
that episode.
simple
so-
staging.
Yeah, a lot of it had to do with that.
Not a lot of crowd work.
All right. I love that episode.
But
Yeah,
it's-
the less
it's a
crowds, the
process.
better.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind as we continue through.
Less
Don't have them.
crowd work,
Don't have them
Crowd
together.
work
I
is
do
good
have
if
a
you're a
tendency
stand-up
to just say
comedian.
that's because in Community we have a room full of sad human beings that you can just fill in for $20 an
Yeah,
hour
yeah, yeah.
or $20 a day and go like, hey, you backpack,
Yeah.
hey Blondie, Indian lady, get in here.
Well,
Walk
there was
down
a-
this
there-
hall 17 times.
There was also this had all the hookups with the props and the trash on the floor and the
This
tables.
was a
and
fucking nightmare for
the cups
for
were
continuity.
all over the place, and
I am in great
Horrible
pain.
nightmare.
Please help me.
I wanted to kill myself at one
He's
point.
saying it ironically.
No,
My
Morty.
we had a lot of
criticism.
line weight issues with this
Very
one.
The
deep
and-
worst.
pain. That is
I mean, considering where it was, it's incredible right now.
bird person.
Come on, bird
At the
person.
last minute, I remember I was telling you, Justin, and this is my fault for
Then
not
why do you
giving
care
the
so
note
much if you
earlier
are
that
no longer
the
allowed
moment
to
where
continue on your
because
adventures?
if there is any emotional
Here's
crux in
fate
this
has
episode,
presented
it's
you with an
when Morty has to
opportunity to
contemplate
free
whether he
yourself.
should wake Rick up or not.
Like a music cue,
We
right?
could have, give it a little more room to breathe. I don't know, push down Morty a little bit.
Yeah.
Heard the
you,
music
Ridley.
cue.
I did have
This episode's great.
I did have composed a cue here, but it just wasn't working.
Well, no,
I
but
couldn't-
I think it had. There's other elements that I feel responsible for not.
If
I
you
wrote
want to
the
see
scene, I
more
should have
of
been a little
Bird
more involved.
Person, hashtag Bird Person.
Oh, this
yeah, hashtag bird person.
It's
It can
gonna get
only
its own
help
show,
when the
a spin-off
casting
show.
department
Yeah.
sees that kind of
the
stuff.
Bird Person show.
Yeah, it could only help get us permission to use bird person.
We're talking
more.
about Bird Person's wedding being the
Hey,
big part of
easy.
season
Come on,
2.
spoiler.
And I don't want to play this card necessarily, but if you want to see a 6th season of Community, it couldn't hurt for you to ask for more Bird Person and Rick and Morty. I don't know how.
Yeah,
I just know
if the
George
August
Lucas
release date. of
By the
this
time
DVD
people hear
somehow.
this, that's going to be so dated.
All right, that should
Oh
do it.
yeah.
that was a really fancy effect.
Nice
Yeah,
effects.
that's
That's
Scarpetti, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Fucking
Oh,
in-house
he's,
effect, bro.
Amazing
Everything's
effects
frozen in time.
animator.
Yeah, and slow Mobius thinks he's all that.
Well,
Frozen
then
in
don't
time.
tell him I was being
How
sarcastic.
long do you guys want?
Oh man, I didn't know you were. I like
start
it.
cleaning the house and see how we feel?
Don't sing along because I'm changing this
Oh,
song.
sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm.
Thanks.
Oh, that's just a song I had stuck in my head from
Oh.
earlier.
Wait, you're changing it from broadcast?
Yes.
Good. What is this? Your sister's band?
No, this is Elder. Elder did this.
Oh, oops. Shit.
Sister's
Look, I mean, he wasn't in love with it. He just he shit it out. I mean, the guy's resilient. It's not like that was his fucking best song he ever wrote.
Worst movie ever.
Ooh, boy, by the way, a lot of the song in this, a lot of the music, party music, is Nick Haas and Mike
Your
Ferrio,
old high school friends.
and just dug into all these instrumentals that they made.
Don't need
We couldn't get Celine Dion for the Titanic.
Yeah, it was a little too pricey. We had blown our music budget on "Shake That Ass."
Just kidding. My new catchphrase is, I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
Man,
I don't give a fuck.
that's gonna be
Look
on
at
the
Summer's
t-shirts.
dance.
Look,
It took me a while
watch
to
Morty.
show me,
Watch
like-
Morty's dance here.
Look at
Morty's
Summers.
dance.
Oh, Morty's
This little move here is great.
And his expression
eyes
is just
just
so
go
focused.
dead, yeah.
He's so focused. Look at Summer shake that ass, man.
Oh, come
Damn.
on.
It got bigger.
Damn, baby.
You gotta be.
You do it, Summer. You do it. I want to tap that, Summer.
No, he doesn't.
Not talking about our lovely voice
I want
actress.
to tap that Summer
you're talking about the
a subjective
cartoon,
year from now when your character.
Is the legal age of consent.
When Summer turns 18.
After the show's over.
She's a cartoon character. She will never age.
She'll be 17 forever.
Look at all these hardworking folks. Come
Look
on.
at these guys.
Give it up for
Look at
all
that
these
font.
people.
You know,
That's my
I
handwriting.
hear the legal age in
The font is my
Toontown
handwriting.
You own that
16,
font.
Justin.
In some states.
In
Hey,
England.
best tag ever, right, guys?
Worst tag of the season.
Well, this is like I said earlier. This is what the entire episode was based on. Is Justin's
We finally gave it
insistence
to him.
that yeah.
Justin walks in the room and says, I want Testicle
I mean,
Monsters.
really quick before this ends, which will be now, we broke a whole story about the metaphorical
God. And
reasoning
Chomsky
behind.
was in it?
Huh? Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Chomsky.
It was
and
insane.
It had to do with like
Look,
being
it would've
stuck in a
been good if we had
vagina
just stuck
monster
with it.
was.
I know, yeah.
popularity.
Well, you and every writer that's ever worked for Community says
that.
It would have been good if we stuck with it. Sorry, everybody.
All right, see y'all.
Cool.